Hey there guys, how you going? This is Bo here. Look, first video I've done in a while. I just wanted to make a short video just to kind of give you guys a bit of an update and just to talk to you about why you shouldn't give up on Bitcoin. So before we get into that, just to give you guys an update on what's been going on. I'm still here, just doing a lot of work on the website actually, and I've actually been working on a second course. So that's been taking up a lot of my time. So, I haven't been putting a lot of time into YouTube, but working on a lot of other things in the background. And those that follow me on Twitter or follow Cryptocurrency Australia on Twitter would know that. So some of the other things I've been doing, guys, just spending a lot of time researching, understanding and learning, reading books. That's what a significant proportion of my time generally on a day-to-day, even when I'm producing a lot of content, is learning. Life, you just have to continue to learn and to continue to gain knowledge. And I've pretty much been in crypto now for close to 2 years, and every day has been some kind of learning or gaining knowledge or reading or listening to someone or talking to someone and just soaking in as much as I can. Now, obviously, the last 12 months, 2018 has been a really, really rough year, price-wise. So, for anyone that watched the recent 4-part series that we did on Bitcoin, we did a video on intrinsic value and price value. And that was a fantastic video to do because what it communicated, what it articulated was the difference in price and intrinsic value and how markets are irrational. So the price of any asset is based on what participants in the system are willing to pay for it, right? So we know price is based on supply and demand, but demand is driven up by speculation, by utility, by all sorts of things. So the price does not match intrinsic value. Price does not match fundamental value. So what that video showed was Bitcoin. It pointed out some of the indicators as to what gives it intrinsic value, what gives it fundamental value. And it all comes down to being hard money and being sound money. Some things that I've been really gaining a lot of understanding on recently around hard and sound money and self-sovereignty of assets. So, when we look at, just looking at TradingView, looking at the charts here, we can see just how rough it's been, right? So, we hit the all-time high up here. It was around, I think, 24,000 Australian dollars or 23,500, I think I remember seeing it. And we've now hit this low at the moment, sitting around 3,900 US dollars. We've been bouncing around this for a couple of months now, since early November. So volatility is actually pretty low. It's been quite low since November, and then before that, volatility was extremely low up until this point here. So blue line represents 200-day moving average. I'm not someone that sits here and does charts, so I'm not a charting expert at all. I do not have much knowledge in charting, but I just like to use some basic indicators because it gives me kind of a good understanding on what some of the data is telling us purely from a price perspective, not from a fundamental or intrinsic value perspective. You just even see that the 200-day moving average, look at how the market is undervaluing Bitcoin based on the 200-day moving average alone. Again, just one indicator I'm using. I mean, look at the difference. The 200-day moving average is saying the price should be around 6,000 US, and here we are sitting at $3,900. But look, this isn't the important thing. The fundamentals of why you shouldn't give up on Bitcoin is the current state of the financial system. It's the current state of the world financial system, and things are starting to look bleak. Things are starting to look very bleak, and my conviction for the need for Bitcoin as a decentralized sound money is only growing stronger by the day. And my friends and family, I can't stop talking about it because I'm generally want to I want people to be protected, and I want people to be ready. I want people to be ready in the event that the system does collapse, and if it does collapse in a big way, which it could, it might not also, that people are financially prepared for that. So just a few things that I want to go through. So global debt is the highest it's ever been. Now, it's important to understand the fiat system and how central banks and even domestic private banks, virtually around the world, certainly here in Australia, America, are allowed to print money. And what that does is that increases the circulation of money. That increases the supply of money. Banks are in control because they're allowed to print money and then loan it. So in America, they have a fractional reserve lending system. Here in Australia, the bit of research I've done, they don't need to have reserves. I could be wrong on that. I need to do some more research, but essentially at a high level, banks print money, it increases the money supply, and it causes inflation. So central banks generally can print money, which they loan to governments, which they go and use to buy assets, to fund government programs, to bolster government, and it's wasteful. It can be wasteful because when you essentially are in control of a printing press, what incentive do you have to be cost effective? But at a high level, this is what the entire world is based on. So we have debt. We have the highest debt ever in human history based on a money system where government controls the supply. And we have continuing inflation around the world in most major currencies. So just on that front alone, that is a red flag, all right? Ray Dalio is on. Those that follow me for a while know I've been following Ray a lot. I've nearly finished reading one of Ray's books. He's been in the financial industry, in the financial world for over 45 years. His firm, Bridgewater and Associates, have been highly successful. In fact, they made their clients money during the GFC because they actually predicted the GFC coming. Now, Ray's been on the circuit lately, going on various shows, making videos, making statements about a coming recession, about a potential coming recession in the next 2 years. Now, he's doing this because he has conviction. He's not doing this for fame. He's not doing this for money. He has both of those already. He's doing this out of conviction as to something that might be happening, essentially a financial collapse or a major financial recession. Now, I've watched just about all the interviews Ray's done. I told people on my Twitter to do the same thing, and I highly recommend you guys do as well. But his argument is convincing. If you call it an argument, it's not really. It's based on 40 years of research that his firm have done. Some of the things he points out, which are very interesting, that have happened in the past prior to major recessions. Wealth gaps have risen, and this is the crazy thing about a financial system where you have something called hypothecation, which is where financial derivatives are produced and make people money without any underlying financial commodity or asset or goods produced. So the financial markets, options, futures contracts, these are things that create wealth, but there's no underlying commodity, there's no underlying production for society, there's no economic, there's no gain for the people, right? So what that does is that funnels the wealth from the bottom up. Now, that we've had that for many decades. Okay, so another thing that he points out, which is evident, I think, across the world, is populism. Populism being a clear separation between left and right, and global tensions. One thing that Ray points out in one of his interviews is the US-China tensions between the trade talks or the trade negotiations. So, there's a lot of data. Ray gives a lot of very good examples as to what may be coming. Now, when we move on to Venezuela, I think Venezuela is a common example and is used a lot, but is a case study for worst case. So Venezuela, what they've been doing is they've been massively inflating their currency. Their currency is virtually going to zero. I watched a documentary where when Venezuela, the inflation is so bad, it's up to 1,000% a week, that when Venezuelans get paid, they immediately draw out their cash and go and try and buy something, because if they wait too long, they won't even be able to afford, say, a loaf of bread or some other piece of food, just a piece of food from their pay. Because the inflation is that bad, they have to do it immediately. That's how dire things are in Venezuela at the moment. Now, again, Venezuela is a fringe case. It's a worst case. But That's what you should do in life. Expect the worst, hope for the best. Now, this one really got me. Is that in Venezuela in 2017, the average Venezuelan lost 11 kilograms, and that was due to starvation. That was essentially due to not being able to afford food. Now, that one really gripped me, and has left a mark on me, is knowing that the average person living in this country in 2018 in Venezuela is losing weight because they can't afford food due to hyperinflation of their currency. Now, again, it's a fringe case. Venezuela is a fringe case, but I mean, that is tragic. That is absolutely tragic that a currency can be devalued to the point where people can't afford food, and the average Venezuelan has lost 11 kilograms. And even this article says up to 90% now live in poverty. Now, if this isn't just an example of the use case for a decentralized sound money such as Bitcoin, what is? This is the thing. The supply of Bitcoin is decentralized. It cannot be controlled. It's enforced by code. No government can print Bitcoin to fund something, to buy something, to increase the money supply. It's locked. It's sound money. It's hard money. It's one of the hardest monies that has ever existed in human history. To produce Bitcoin is incredibly hard. Its supply is known. The supply of gold is not even known. It's saleable. What does that mean? Well, I can send Bitcoin to anyone in the world that will accept it. It's quick, it's easy, it happens over the internet. I mean, who here takes gold coins now? No one takes gold coins. No one's going to have a smelter out the back of their house to melt down the gold into coins. I mean, that is highly unlikely. And gold traditionally was the asset where money flowed into during times of economic duress. And I think it still will to a large degree. But you got things like physical possession. If you don't own the physical possession of the gold, do you really own it? You know, it's like the proof of keys initiative. Not your keys, not your Bitcoin. Well, not your gold. If you don't own the gold, you don't own it. So this is a use case. This is a real live case study. We're seeing in Turkey massive inflation as well. Nowhere near Venezuela, but incredible inflation. Up to 25% in September, the highest in 15 years. Centrally controlled government printing of money that devalues the savings of all of its citizens. Think about that. Every time the government prints money and injects new money into the money supply, they are devaluing your savings if your savings are held in cash. If your savings are held in the locally denominated fiat currency, it is being devalued every day that inflation happens. That's scary. That's scary. So moving on to something a little bit more positive. I'm sorry that was so negative. That's just, I would prefer just to be honest and open with you guys as to my feelings, and to really show you the worst of it. But like I said, on to some positive stuff. So this is blockchain.info. This is Bitcoin transactions. Bitcoin transactions have been going up since the bottom here around March 2018. Transactions are going up. The network is being used, guys. People are using Bitcoin. It is being used. Look at this, on average now, around 250 to 300,000 transactions every day. Bitcoin has been going for 10 years. 10 years, the most secure blockchain network of all, the hardest money, the soundest money, the number one. Bitcoin is being used. The block reward halves in 512 days from 12.5 down to 6.25 coins. That's the supply schedule. The supply schedule will halve. It will go from 3.84%, which is what it is now per annum, down to 1.8%. 83% of all Bitcoins have already been mined. They're already mined. So out of the total Bitcoins in circulation, 17.5 million, around 4 to 5 million have been lost forever. For people losing private keys, that had them on hard drives, theft, Bitcoin addresses potentially being blacklisted, from being involved in fraudulent or illegal activity. Guys, this is the hardest, soundest money, 21 million that will ever exist. Huge data, right? Crypto Fear and Greed Index. Now, this is more anecdotal. I haven't looked into the data of this a lot, but it just gives you a good indicator on what the market is feeling, what people are feeling at the moment. So extreme fear, people are still feeling fearful. The market has been down for a long time. That is when there's opportunity. Opportunity in times like this, as hard as it is, this is where there is opportunity. Now, it goes without saying this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not an accountant. I'm not any kind of financial professional. But when you look at the data, you know, you can gather what it's essentially what it's saying, okay? So guys, I just want to say, sorry I haven't been around a lot on YouTube. Obviously we did that huge production. Been putting tons and tons of work into the website. This is where most of my time goes now these days, is in writing. So writing gives me a little bit of flexibility that I don't have to record. I'm enjoying writing. I'm slowly, I think, getting better at it. We published these guides recently, how to accept crypto payments for business in Australia, simple guide for storing cryptocurrencies. We've got updates on Ethereum, Constantinople. We've got all the 4 series that we did on YouTube. We have the blogs to those. So we're going to be producing more and more content on our blog, and I do hope to do more on YouTube as well. We now have a weekly newsletter that will push out all the updates of the website every single week, completely free. Now our course, our top-rated course, is now completely free. So if you go to courses up here, you will see this course. It's now free. We were only going to do it free to the end of December, but I'm now going to do it free permanently. So this course is now free for anyone that wants to do it. What is it? What do you learn in this course? The fundamentals of cryptocurrencies, including the blockchain technology and its value proposition. You'll understand Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, and Ripple, how to register on an exchange, how to buy, sell, and store cryptocurrencies, understand the risks involved, identifying cryptocurrency opportunities by studying the companies, so actually learning how to separate the fluff from the good quality, learning about tax in Australia, and gaining additional resources. Guys, this course is free. It's completely free. No strings attached. You can go and do this course free on our website. This is just something we want to give away, and our further courses will be courses that we will charge for. But this course, this first introductory course, over 4 hours of content, completely free. So again, sorry for dribbling on, guys. Sorry I've been gone for a while. I do want to do more videos on YouTube. I think the high level of production we've done for the last ones, I'm really proud of those. I love how good they were, but they take a long time. So maybe if you guys like this kind of format, if I can do these kind of more off the cuff, and you know, it doesn't have to be super scripted and doesn't have to be really, really polished, and you guys are kind of happy with that, then I'll keep doing these kind of videos because they're a lot easier for me. A lot easier for me to do. So guys, thank you for tuning in. Whoever listened, thank you. You know, if you did like it, give us a like. Let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know in the comments what you got going on. Don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, thanks again, guys. Cheers.